It sounds like a joke. It sounds like a reality TV plotline that got left on the cutting room floor because it was too absurd even for prime time. The President of the United States wants to buy the world's biggest island. He wants to buy Greenland. And when the owners said it wasn't for sale, he didn't laugh it off. He didn't walk away. He doubled down. We are watching the single biggest geopolitical gamble of the 21st century unfolding in real time. This isn't about golf courses. This isn't about putting a hotel on a glacier. This is about the brutal reality of national security in 2026. This is about a resource war that the West is currently losing. This is about a missile shield called the Golden Dome. And most terrifying of all, this is about the fact that for the first time in history, the United States is threatening to turn its military machine against a NATO ally to get what it wants. You heard the president. He said it plainly. We are going to do this the easy way or the hard way. And after what we just watched happen in Venezuela on January 3rd, everyone knows exactly what the hard way looks like. You have to get inside the head of the administration to understand this. You have to stop thinking like a diplomat and start thinking like a distressed asset investor. That is how the White House sees Greenland. They don't see a sovereign territory with a distinct indigenous culture. They see an undervalued asset on the balance sheet of a company that can't afford the upkeep. The argument coming out of Washington is simple. Denmark is losing money on this deal. They're pouring nearly $700 million a year into Greenland just to keep the lights on. To a real estate mogul, that is a bad deal. The president has called it essentially a large real estate deal. The logic is transactional. We take the liability off your hands, we pay you a massive lump sum, you stop losing money, we get the strategic asset. Everyone wins. But there is a darker psychological component here. The president recently told the New York Times that this acquisition is psychologically needed for success. Think about that phrasing, psychologically needed. It suggests that leasing bases isn't enough. Treaties aren't enough. Those are just pieces of paper that can be torn up. Ownership is permanent. Ownership is absolute. And in a world where Russia and China are rewriting the maps of Europe and Asia, the United States has decided it needs to rewrite the map of North America. Now, the media will tell you this is unprecedented, crazy talk. It's not. This is actually the most traditional American foreign policy imaginable. We're just seeing the dust blown off a playbook from 1867. That was the year Secretary of State William Seward bought Alaska. People called it Seward's folly. They laughed at him for buying a block of ice. Today, we know it was the smartest strategic move of the 19th century. But Seward didn't just want Alaska. He wanted Greenland too. He wanted to encircle the North American continent to push European powers out completely. Fast forward to 1946, World War II just ended. We realized Greenland was the unsinkable aircraft carrier that let us win the Battle of the Atlantic. President Harry Truman, a Democrat, didn't just float the idea, he put gold on the table, $100 million in gold bars to buy Greenland from Denmark. So when you hear the outrage today, remember that this isn't a new idea. It is an American idea. The difference is that in 1946, when Denmark said no, Truman backed off. In 2026, the answer no is being treated as a hostile act. Let's talk about the hardware. Why do we actually need to own the dirt? It starts with the Golden Dome. You've heard the administration talk about this missile defense shield. It is the cornerstone of the second term's defense policy. You cannot build a shield over America without the North. If Russia or China launches a hypersonic glide vehicle or an ICBM at the East Coast, it comes over the pole. We have a base up there, Pitifik Space Base. It used to be called Thule. It's 750 miles north of the Arctic Circle. They operate the 12th Space Warning Squadron. They run a massive phased array radar that is the eyes of the American nuclear deterrent. The administration argues that leasing this base isn't safe enough anymore. They say we need to upgrade these radars to track hypersonics. That costs billions. You don't build a billion-dollar addition on a house you're renting, especially not when the landlord is a European government that might get squeamish about American military aggression. The White House is saying that we need access turned into ownership to guarantee that the Golden Dome can never be switched off by a foreign parliament. But missiles are only half the story. The other half is buried under the ice, and this is where the story gets dirty. In October 2025, China dropped the hammer. They instituted sweeping export controls on critical minerals. They choked off the supply of the heavy rare earths we need for everything: electric vehicles, wind turbines, the guidance systems on the Tomahawk cruise missiles. We're in a supply chain crisis. The Pentagon knows it, Silicon Valley knows it, and Greenland happens to be the solution. Greenland holds the largest undeveloped deposits of rare earth metals on the planet. We're talking about neodymium, dysprosium, terbium, the stuff that runs the 21st century. There are two major mines at play here. One is Kwanveenfeld. It's massive, but it's messy because it has uranium and a Chinese company owns a big stake in it. The U.S. government looks at that mine and sees a national security threat. They see Beijing holding a knife to our throat in our own backyard. Then there's Tonbreeze. This is the one the U.S. wants. It's got the heavy rare earths without the uranium headache. In June 2025, the U.S. Export-Import Bank, that's your tax dollars, signaled they would loan $120 million to get this mine running. This isn't the free market. This is state capitalism. This is the U.S. government paying to dig a mine in a foreign country because we're terrified of running out of the metal we need to build fighter jets. The president has been very clear. If we don't go in and get these rocks, China will.